It's the Flow Friday Night Sports Show. Time to have a look at Western Eyre Netball, and Rehanna Freeman joins us. G'day, Rehanna. How's your week been?
Very good, thank you. Enjoying the rain, being that we're farmers.
As you do. Have you had a good lot out there? What's the fall figures?
Yeah, look, I can't tell you exactly how much rain we've had, but I can tell you we've had enough. Not enough. It can keep raining, but we're happy with the amount of rain that we've had, and crops are looking good. So it's happy days here at the moment.
It has been rather windy. That hasn't had an effect too much on the crops?
No, it's sort of been blowing the rain in, and we've had heavy rains. It hasn't blown it away too quick, so it's still early enough that we can take a bit of that wind.
And the crops are looking good. That's what we like to hear as well.
Absolutely, and the sheep are looking nice and fat. So at the moment we're enjoying the season.
Well, that's good. We've had our ag report. Now it's time to talk about netball. So how did things go last week?
Hawks had the week off. As we played Caniba, so the rest of the clubs obviously still had games, and we'll start with Westies versus Thevenard. So Thevenard currently sitting top of the ladder and Westies bottom of the ladder. Sevi going into this game as top favourites. They've played previously and had margins of 22 and 32, and last week was more or less no different with a margin of 23 going Sevi's way. Pretty low-scoring game to start with, 7-13. Not hugely low, but for Sevi being top of the table, I would have expected higher. But let's not forget last week was pretty horrendous weather. It was blowing a gale and very wet Cedruna way. So I think that would have most definitely impacted the game. Sevi obviously would be very happy with a 23-goal win at this point of the season. They're looking really good. They had the loss the week before, definitely came out wanting to win, and that they did. So well done to Sevi for getting that win, and West is still yet to get a win on the board.
There's still a couple of weeks left, so they still do have time, but they're cutting it pretty fine.
They most certainly are, and especially when I reckon they play Caniba at some stage, which means they haven't got a game. So that most definitely isn't making it easier for them.
In the other game, it was Wirrala and the Cedruna Blues, and Wirrala were just too good in the end.
They were. So Wirrala, in typical Wirrala form, are coming really good at the right end of the season, as they do all the time, every year. They always sort of start a bit slow and warm up as the season goes on. It was a 12-goal win, which is a really good win, especially considering the weather that they had. I do believe it was Emma Willis's first game in A grade, so she's been back for a few weeks, but just sitting quietly in B grade. She stepped up this week for her first game back in A's, and I hear she was back to her best, especially under the weather conditions. Wirrala were without Sophie Kellett. She's a huge player and a playmaker who normally sits in goal attack, but they don't have her for finals. So I think the fact that they didn't have her, Emma stepped up, and they still came away with a win against a really quality side like Blues. They'd be really happy with. I think it was 10-6 in the first quarter, so they were up by 2, up by 6 at half time, up by 12 at three-quarter time. But interestingly enough, in the last quarter, it was an even quarter. So Blues obviously held it to them very tight in that last quarter to keep it a margin of 12.
And I'm sure the Wirrala girls and the coaches will be working on not letting that happen again, because they could set a pattern, especially heading towards the final, so we don't want to see that.
Absolutely. I think Blues are a really quality side. They were without Georgia Lambeth last week, so that's a massive out for them. She's a beautiful defender, so I think bringing her back into the team, and it's going to make a bit of difference. I did see Blues line up. They had a bit of a swap around, see if they couldn't match up with Emma Willis. Taylor Collins started in goals and finished off in goalkeeper against Emma Willis, and that obviously made a difference as that affected the scoreline. So Blues adapted to the game, but unfortunately not enough to come away with a win.
Okay, before we talk about round 13, let's have a quick look at the ladder. So Thevenard, they're looking very, very strong on top, 3 points clear.
They are. So they're sitting on top in 17, followed by Hawks on 14. Wirrala are sitting in third on 10. So Hawks currently 2 games clear of Wirrala, and Wirrala without a game this week. So that could make a difference on the ladder. And Blues sitting in fourth on 7. And Westies, as we said before, without a win, sitting in fifth position.
They're cutting it fine. They certainly are. Okay, on to this week's games. And I think this will be a real good game. Cedruna Blues and Thevi.
Absolutely. I think this will be a cracking game, and going on past performances, in the first round, Sevi came away with a win by 1 goal, 43-42, and the second time they met, they had a draw, so things couldn't get much closer between these two. I think Sevi are currently building. They're playing some fantastic netball, with only one loss a few weeks ago against Wirrala. Blues, I'm thinking I've got Georgia back in this week, so that'll be a massive in. Georgia generally plays a goal defence position and will match up against Cassie Meir, so that will be a fabulous matchup. But I think if we've got to mention a matchup in this game, it would have to be Casey Grenfell in goalkeeper for Blues. Will come up against Rochelle Hasseldine for Sevi, both tall players. Rochelle, beautiful under the ring, always gets her rebounds and is hard to body up on. But Cassie Grenfell plays a fabulous game. So looking forward to seeing that matchup. I think Sevi will go in hot favourites. They are playing fabulous netball, but I don't think Blues will give it to them easy.
Well, it's one thing we've noticed if we watch the Com Games girls in the netball, and those tall girls, they can throw their weight around and they do it really well. So I reckon you're right, there's going to be a great matchup.
Absolutely. I would love to see some of those games live. It's been very exciting sitting back at home watching them, the Diamonds doing what they do best. Yes,
they do. Okay, into the other game, West Coast Hawks and the Western United Tigers. Are you nervous about this one?
Look, I never go into a game underestimating the team that we're coming up against. Although Westies haven't had a win at this stage, they've definitely got some key players in their team. Last time we played them, we came away with a win by 21. We were without a couple of players that week, so we're back to a more or less a full side this week, which is exciting. We haven't had a full side for, I think it's nearly a whole round and a half since we've had full 8 players on the court. We've also got Rochelle Wheaton back from holidays this week, so she might be a little bit low on match fitness, but she's been surfing the waves over Barley Way, so she's keen to get back on the court. Westies, I believe, with a full side, Durrani Hoffrichter in shooter. We've got Danielle Warmington, who normally runs through wing attack centre. Rhea Slate's been playing some beautiful defence, along with Lara Skinner in goalkeeper for Westies. So I think Hawks would go in favourites, but as I said, you never want to underestimate a team, especially at this time of the season. So we will go in hard and hopefully come out with a win.
And with only a couple of weeks away to the final start, this is you need to win this one.
We do. Look, we're going with sitting second at the moment, and we're going against a team who hasn't had a win. So if we weren't to come away with a win at this stage, we've most definitely will need to be worried. But the girls have been doing really well at training. They're looking really good and excited to get back on the court after having last week off.
And if anything does go wrong, next week's training is going to be, I think, Hell Week comes to mind. So.
Well, look, they will be happy knowing, because I coach these girls, happy knowing that I won't be there next week because I'll be at the field day. So if they don't win this, I will have to get my assistant coach in Danielle Evans to give them Hell Week, absolutely.
Yes, indeed. Yes, I can remember my coaches saying to me when I was a young lad playing, and then if we lose a game, next week on the training track, and you're more scared of that half the time. So you really wanted to win. Yeah.
Absolutely. Look, we've got a talented bunch of girls, both in the Hawks and Westies have also got some very talented players. So looking forward to the game.
Absolutely. Any other club notes or anything to mention?
No, not too much to mention this week. Just safe travels to everyone. Obviously, the weather at the moment isn't that great, all that wind and rain. So take it easy. Support the clubs that you're playing at, and all is fun in good sportsmanship.
All right, and we'll look forward to catching up with you next week and seeing how those results go. And everyone enjoy yourselves at the Hippie Field Days as well.
No worries. Thanks for having me.